সেমিনার থেকে আলোচনা সভা থেকে আমাদের দৃষ্টিটা যেন সেই দিকে নিবদ্ধ হয়। আমার কথাগুলো হয়তো খুব রেডিকেল হয়ে গেছে, আমার বয়সের সঙ্গে একেবারেই এই কথাগুলো মিলে না, তো তারপরেও আমি বলতে বাধ্য হচ্ছি তরুণ বয়সে যেভাবে চিন্তা করতাম সেভাবেই চিন্তা করা চিন্তা। ধন্যবাদ আমাকে কিছু কথা বলার জন্য।
ধন্যবাদ স্যার। মাহমুদুল্লাহ যে নাম আমি কিছু বলতে চাচ্ছি দেখেন, আসসালামু আলাইকুম। ইংরেজি না বাংলা? আপনার বাংলাতে ডক্টর মাহবুবুল্লাহ যেটা শুরু করেছেন, ধন্যবাদ স্যার। And also, বাংলায় কিছু বিশেষ আছে। ধন্যবাদ FSDS এখানে এই আলোচনাটা অর্গানাইজ করার জন্য। বলে রাখি FSDS আমাদের একটা থিঙ্ক ট্যাঙ্ক আছে, ওটার নাম CADS, আমরা অনেকেই জানেন। সেটাও একই নাম, শুধু এখানে ফাউন্ডেশন করছেন। Otherwise, we can study strategy and development studies. It's good. I think we think alike. এখন আমি আজকে টপিকে আসবো। ডক্টর মাহবুবুল্লাহ টপিক থেকে আসি। প্রথমে বলি, my friend, you're not old, are you? Why friend? We are, by the way, classmates. I feel young. Sir, don't you feel young? We have seen a lot of things. I think we have a long way to go. Anyhow, এই স্টাডিটা একটা ভালো পয়েন্ট করে আসছে আমাদের প্রেসিডেন্টের কাছ থেকে আসছে। একজন বলেছেন বাংলাদেশ ইজ এ উইক স্টেট। হাইলাইট করে আমাদের ঘরের ভিতরে ঘুম না, ঘুম তো আমরা ইংরেজিতে ঢুকে আছি। আমি যাই হোক, ভাইটাল পয়েন্ট। ফরেন পলিসির আগে তো আমাদের ডোমেস্টিক পলিসি ঠিক করতে হবে। ডোমেস্টিক পলিসিগুলো ঠিক নাই, সেখানে আমরা কি করে ফরেন পলিসি ঠিক করবো আর কি করে ন্যাশনাল সিকিউরিটি পলিসি ঠিক করবো ভাবতে হবে। আমরা কেন আজকে উইক স্টেট? আমরা উইক স্টেট 54 বছর আমাদের নেশন হল। What have we done? আমাদের জেনারেশনের মধ্যে একটা বড় রোল প্লে করে গেছে। এখানে আমাদের মাথায় lesson to be taken is to fix up our domestic policies first. Are we patriotic? We fight, we prepare to defend our sovereignty. But we haven't faced any challenge in the frontier as yet, but we have faced a lot of challenges internal, domestically. এখন এই যে ঘুম তো সক্ষম না, প্রত্যেকটা হেডকোয়ার্টারে ঢুকে আছে। আরো কষ্ট করে বলি, সব হেডকোয়ার্টার, সিভিল হেডকোয়ার্টার অলসো। এখন কথা হচ্ছে যে এইটা নিয়ে কিন্তু সিরিয়াসলি ভাবতে হবে, এবং আমাদের মতো যারা একটু চিন্তা ভাবনা আমরা করি, সমাজে দেশে ভাবি, আমাদের গভীরভাবে ভাবতে হবে। এই ঘুম অতীতের নয়, ৫ বছর আগের কথা বললাম, মানে এখানে কথাটাও বলে যাচ্ছে যে ভবিষ্যতের জন্য কিন্তু ঘুমতে কাজ করছি কি রকম কষ্ট করে বলি। তার যেমন সিরিয়াস সিলেবাস ছিল, আমরা তুলেছিলাম যে বাংলাদেশে দেশে কোন ইন্টেলিজেন্স কোর নাই। We are only deputational intelligence officers. Intelligence কি 2-3 বছরে ডেপুটেশনে ডেভেলপ করা যায়? আর পৃথিবীতে দৃষ্টান্ত আছে। আমি আশা করব আমরা যদি স্ট্রংলি বলার চেষ্টা করি যে আমাদের একটা প্রফেশনাল ডিপ প্রফেশনাল ইন্টেলিজেন্স কমিউনিটি ডেভেলপ করতে হবে। সেটা করার আগে যে সরকার এটা করবে, সেই সরকার কিন্তু এটা অ্যাকসেপ্ট করতে হবে যে ন্যাশনাল পলিসি। ন্যাশনাল সিকিউরিটি কাউন্সিলের কথা বলা হয়, আমাদের ডিফেন্স মিনিস্টারই নাই কোনোদিন, আর এখন একজনকে করা হয়েছে, মেবি ইজ এ ভেরি ব্রাইট গাই। ওয়ান ম্যান শো, ইজ ন্যাশনাল সিকিউরিটি ওয়ান ম্যান শো? ব্যাখ্যা করলাম না। আমি এটাও বলবো যে ইভেন নাও উইথ দিস ট্রানজিশন, এই ট্রানজিশনে একটা গোল্ডেন অপরচুনিটি, অত কিছু পলিটিক্স না ভেবে একটা প্রপার ন্যাশনাল সিকিউরিটি কাউন্সিল তৈরি করা। এক্সাম্পল অনেক আছে, এনডিসিকে বললে তারা এখনই ড্রাফট দিয়ে দেবে। তারপরে ইন্টেলিজেন্স করে সূত্রপাত করা, তারপরে গুণগুলো তোলার জন্য চেষ্টা হতে পারে, কিন্তু পলিটিক্যাল প্রসেস ইজ ভাইটাল। যদি পলিটিক্যাল প্রসেসে এখনও আমরা শুনি যে অমিত শাহের পাশে কোনো বড় নেতা আমাদের দাঁড়ায় আছে, তাহলে কেমন লাগে? সত্য কথাগুলো বলতে হবে। যাই হোক, এখন আমাদের এই টপিকের বিষয়ে একটি প্রশ্ন রাখবো। কন্ট্রাক্ট মিডল ইস্ট, মিডল ইস্ট ইজ নট এ লোকাল অ্যাফেয়ার, রিজিওনাল ইস্যু। আমি একমত যে এইটা গ্লোবাল ইস্যু। Global power play is here, and it started not now. It started from First World War, as Brigadier Shafaz had said. And we talk about Muslim world. What has Muslim world done for these centuries? They were once ruling the world, the Ottoman Empire, and Muslims even ruled India. But where has the Muslim world gone? We have to realize that. শুধু মুসলিম বলে তো লাভ নাই। এখানে গ্লোবাল পাওয়ার প্লেতে আমরা আছি, এবং এই জিনিসটা বুঝতে গেলে এখন আমি একটা প্রশ্ন রাখবো প্যানেলের কাছে। অবশ্য unipolar world, USA is playing the role, but this was the opportunity for other global players to show off also their power and limit United States power. On that context, why China and Russia kept quiet in this major conflagration? Maybe I'd like the panel to answer. Thank you.
Colonel Haq. Yes, sir. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. আমার শ্রদ্ধেয় জেনারেল নুরুদ্দিন, আমাদের সর্বজ্যেষ্ঠ অফিসার এখানে, প্রাক্তন সেনাপ্রধান, স্যারের প্রতি সম্মান এবং সকলের প্রতি সম্মান প্রদর্শন করে আমি সংক্ষেপে দু একটি কথা বলছি। আমার প্রথমেই আন্তরিক ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি আমাদের এই থিঙ্ক ট্যাঙ্কে, যত অত্যন্ত গুরুত্বপূর্ণ একটি বিষয়ে আজকে তারা এই আলোচনার অবতারণা করেছেন। আমার কথাটা এই আলোচনার মধ্যেই সম্পর্কিত, বাট এই জিনিসটা ইগনোর করা হয়েছে। প্রথমত আমি ধন্যবাদ জানাই আমাদের শ্রদ্ধেয় মাহবুবুল্লাহ স্যারকে। স্যারের সাথে আমার বহু বছরের ইন্টারাকশন, এবং রাওয়াতে আসার জন্য স্যার আপনাকে আন্তরিক ধন্যবাদ। আপনাকে আমরা কোনো অনুষ্ঠানই মিস করি না, দ্যাট ইজ ভেরি গুড ফর আস। শ্রদ্ধেয় স্যার, আমার সিনিয়র যারা আছেন, জুনিয়র যারা আছেন, একটা জিনিস টোটালি ইগনোর। আজকে জেনারেল আমসামিন বললেন মুসলমান, মুসলিম ওয়ার্ল্ড। আমরা এখানে যারা বসে আছি, ক্যান উই আস্ক আওয়ার কনসিয়াস, আর উই ট্রু মুসলিম? আস্ক আওয়ারসেলফ। I like to draw the attention of General Fazlillahi Akbar. 1988-এ বাংলাদেশের প্রথম জাতিসংঘ মিশনে শ্রদ্ধেয় দিদেন লেফটেন্যান্ট কর্নেল ফজলিল্লাহি আকবরের নেতৃত্বে 17 জন অথবা 15 জনের একটা টিম ইউনিমগে স্যার নেতৃত্ব দিয়েছিলেন ইরান ইরাক যুদ্ধের শান্তি স্থাপনের কারণে। এখানে ইরান টিকে আছে একটাই কারণ, স্পিরিট, ইমানি শক্তি। আমাদের সর্বোচ্চ শক্তিশালী আর্মামেন্ট থাকতে পারে, টেকনোলজিক্যাল নলেজ থাকতে পারে, শক্তি থাকতে পারে, কখনো আমরা বিজয়ী হতে পারবো না যদি না আমাদের মধ্যে সেই স্পিরিট আছে, যে স্পিরিটটা আমেরিকার আছে, যে স্পিরিটটা ইসরায়েলের আছে। ইসরায়েলেরা ফাইটিং তাদের স্পিরিট দিয়ে। আমরা বাংলাদেশ বলি, সৌদি আরব বলি, যত বিশ্ব মুসলিম বলি, তাদের মধ্যে যদি স্পিরিট না আসে, ইসলামিক স্পিরিট, মুসলিম স্পিরিট, আল্লাহর দেওয়া সেই স্পিরিট, কখনো আমরা সুপ্রিম শক্তি থাকা সত্ত্বেও আমরা বিজয় অর্জন করতে পারবো না। এখানে উসমানিয়া খেলাফতের কথা বলা হয়েছে। জেরুজালেম, যে পৃথিবীর সমস্ত যুদ্ধগুলো চলছে জেরুজালেমকে কেন্দ্র করে, বাইতুল আকসা মসজিদকে কেন্দ্র করে, এটা কিন্তু আমরা ভুলে যাই। আমরা সুপারফিশিয়ালি নানান বক্তব্য দিয়ে কিন্তু কোনো জাতিকে উদ্বুদ্ধ করা যায় না। আমরা লক্ষ্য করলে দেখব এই আল আকসাকে কেন্দ্র করে ইসরায়েল তাদের সাম্রাজ্য বিস্তার করতে চাচ্ছে। আবার আল্লাহ বলছেন মুসলমানদেরকে দায়িত্ব দিয়ে এই আল আকসা মসজিদই তোমাদের কেন্দ্রস্থল, তোমাদের সমস্ত শক্তি। এখন দেখো, আমরা মুসলিম রাষ্ট্রগুলো এই পথ থেকে বহু যোজন দূরে বলেই আজকে ক্ষুদ্র কয়েক হামাস যোদ্ধাদেরকে আমরা সহযোগিতা করতে পারছি না। অথচ আমরা এদেরকে শিক্ষা নেই না যে হামাসের গুটি কয়েক, মাত্র কয়েকশো অথবা 1000 2000 এই স্পিরিটেড লোকেরা কিভাবে সুপার পাওয়ারের সাথে যুদ্ধ করে টিকে আছে। এখান থেকে কিন্তু শিক্ষণীয় আমরা কিছু আমরা বের করে আনতে পারি না। এই কথাগুলো কোনো চিন্তাবিদরা বলেন না, গবেষকরা বলেন না, বিকজ তাদের নিজেরই সেই স্পিরিট নাই। এখন আসুন, আমাদের এই যে ইরান, আপনারা মনে রাখতে পারেন, মনে করেন নিশ্চয়ই, যখন 79-এ রেভলিউশন হলো আয়াতুল্লাহ খোমেনির এই স্পিরিট দিয়ে, সেই সময়ে রেভলিউশনের পর আমেরিকা তাদের একটা রেস্কিউ অপারেশন করেছিল, ইউ ক্যান রিমেম্বার, টু রেস্কিউ দেয়ার হোস্টেজেস, আমেরিকান হোস্টেজেস যারা ইরানে ছিল। টোটালি ফেইল্ড, মরুভূমির উপর তার ধ্বংস হয়ে গেল। সেই সময় দীর্ঘ 9 বছর যুদ্ধ করে ইরাকের সাথে টিকে রইল, বিশ্বের সাথে যুদ্ধ করে ইরান টিকে আছে। এবং গত যুদ্ধটা হলো একটা উদাহরণ, উজ্জ্বল উদাহরণ। আপনারা লক্ষ্য করে থাকবেন, ঠিক মুহররম মাসের আগেই এই যুদ্ধের শান্তি চুক্তি করলো তারা। কেন? তারা জানে এই মুহররম মাস এমন একটা স্পিরিটেড মাস, এই মাসে যদি আমেরিকা যুদ্ধ চালায়, আমেরিকান জাতি পরাজিত হবে শোচনীয়ভাবে ইরানের কাছে। এবং সেই উদাহরণ কিন্তু শুরু হয়ে গিয়েছিল। এখন আসেন বাংলাদেশে আমরা যত বক্তৃতা দেই, যত কিছু বলি, আমরা এই জাতিটা ইনক্লুসিভ নই। আমাদের ঘরে ঘরে রয়ে যায়। আমরা আমাদের আর্মিকে এখনো স্পিরিটেড আর্মি করতে পারি নাই। হেক্টোজেনিয়াস এলিমেন্টের মিলিটারি আমাদের। এই মিলিটারিরা ভিতরে তারাই নিজেরা, আমি বলবো, যুদ্ধের সময় বিভক্ত হয়ে দেশের বিরুদ্ধে কাজ করবে অনেকে। এই জিনিসটা আমাদের নজরে রাখতে হবে। সর্বশেষ আমি বলবো, আমাদের এই একটা কথা বলে দিয়ে আমি শেষ করছি, সেটা হলো এই যে স্পিরিটের কথা আল্লাহ বলেছেন, against them make ready your strength to the utmost of your power, including steeds of war, to strike terror into the hearts of the enemies and of Allah and your enemies, and other besides, whom you may not know, but whom Allah does know. Whatever you shall spend in the cause of Allah shall be repaid unto you, and you shall not be treated unjustly. এটা মনে রাখতে হবে। আর এই কথা দিয়ে শেষ করছি, রাওয়া। এই রাওয়া যে 11,000 রিটায়ার্ড মিলিটারি অফিসারদের একটা সংগঠন, সবাই সুশিক্ষিত, সুপ্রশিক্ষিত। এই আমরা কি কোনো রোগ জাতীয়ভাবে রাখতে পেরেছি আজ পর্যন্ত? আমরা শুধু কথায় বলি ওয়েলফেয়ার, রেশন, 1 rank 1 pay, এর বাইরে আমরা যেতে পারি না। আমরা ন্যাশনাল লেভেলে যে একটা বিশাল শক্তি হিসেবে এই জাতির প্রতি একটা দায়িত্ব পালন করতে পারি, সেটা যখন করতে যাই, এক বিশাল শক্তি এটাকে বাধা দেয়। এবং কেউ জেনে হোক না জেনে হোক, তারা এটা সহযোগিতা করে এবং তাদের সাপোর্ট দেয়। দাওয়াকে তারা কেন্দ্রীভূত করে রাখছে বারের মধ্যে অনলি, এবং এই বারে গুটি কয়েক লোকই পরিচালনা করছে সমস্ত ষড়যন্ত্র। আপনাদের মনে রাখতে, আমি সবাইকে বলবো না, গুটি কয়েকের কথা বলছি। এই জিনিসগুলো এখানে সিনিয়র জেনারেল নুরুদ্দিন থেকে আছেন, এই জন্য আমি স্যারকে বারবার সম্বোধন করছি। জেনারেল কালাম আছেন, জেনারেল ফজলেল্লাহ ইয়াকুব আছেন, জেনারেল আমাদের আমসামিন আছেন। আমি আরো অন্যান্য সিনিয়র অফিসার আছেন, সোলজার স্যার আছেন, আপনাদের দৃষ্টি আকর্ষণ করছি, আপনারা চলুন আমরা রাওয়াকে শক্তিশালী করে একটি জাতীয় প্রতিষ্ঠানে পরিণত করি। আমি কালকে ফারুকের সাথে দেখা করেছি, সারোয়ার ফারুকি, যে 1 আগস্ট মাসের একটা দিন আমাদেরকে দেওয়া হোক, আমরা সেই দিনটা 4 তারিখে পালন করবো। আপনারা আমার জন্য দোয়া করবেন, রাওয়ার জন্য দোয়া করবেন। লেট আস মেক আস এ স্পিরিটেড নেশন। আল্লাহ হাফেজ, আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
অনেক ধন্যবাদ, থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ। এদিকে আছেন, আচ্ছা এয়ারবেস মাহমুদকে দিচ্ছি, আপনাকে দিচ্ছি।
Sir, thank you very much. Sir, first of all, I would like to thank Foundation for Strategic and Development Studies for organizing this roundtable discussion. And I'd also like to thank all the speakers for giving us such a comprehensive understanding of the Middle East crisis. I've just got few points. Now, what is going to happen in future, we can't in fact reveal right now. So many things happen. And it is also natural that superpowers have always been behaving the way they have behaved all through the ages in history. A superpower will always like to have its power demonstrated all across the world and would like to stop or prevent the other superpower from overwhelming its position. But there are a few things for Bangladesh to take lessons from the global politics, and one of them is that we must be very intelligent in dealing with strategic issues. Particularly with regard to keeping a balance between our defense policy and foreign policy. We can always take the example of Pakistan. Take the case of Pakistan. Pakistan has very good relations with China and also with the United States of America. Pakistan has got certain advantages which we do not have because of its geostrategic location. On one hand, on one side of it is China, on the other side it is very close to the Middle Eastern Arab states with whom it has got very good relationship. But in case of Bangladesh, we are geostrategically in a very precarious situation because on all sides we are surrounded by India. Bangladesh is not a small country per se, but when you look at the map and on all sides you find that it is India surrounding you, you feel very small. We have to in fact overcome from this kind of mentality because the influence of India seems to be working very strongly in our psyche. So what we need to do, first of all, we need to in fact make our military narrative strong. I in fact flew for almost about 6 to 7 years in Chittagong Hill Tracks, and I can say that General Nuruddin is here. He was our GOC at that time and often used to fly in the flight engineer's seat, I being the co-pilot, and there used to be a number of captains, and you'd show around the different camps in Chittagong Hill Tracks. There were not less than, at that point of time, 350 or 400 camps, and all these camps were maintained by Bangladesh Army and the other paramilitary forces. But what is strange that we have not taken this narrative to the public with the intensity that probably the other countries have been able to do, like say for example Pakistan or India in case of Israel or Iran, where there is a strong intense feeling for military amongst the public. I can still say that if Chittagong Hill Tracks is a part of Bangladesh, that our integrity and sovereignty is not being jeopardized. It is largely because of the contribution of Bangladesh Army and the military forces or paramilitary forces who were deployed at that point of time. And we have never been able to give this narrative the kind of importance or significance it was supposed to have, or it is supposed to have in our national history. Now, whose responsibility is this? This is the responsibility not only of the military, this is also the responsibility of the political masters. And we must also think that whenever we talk about the military and its role in national security, there cannot be any kind of disconnect between the foreign policy or say Foreign Office and the Department of Defense, or say for example Ministry of Defense. But we find that the Foreign Office and Defense Ministry has not been able to work together. The very good example is the recent issue of corridor crisis. And unless we do so, we'll not be able to set up the example the way the other countries have done. You take the case of Israel. In Israel, anything the defense minister says, it is the next day defended by the foreign minister. It is equally the case with all advanced countries where security issues have become paramount for their survival. And now the most important thing, how can we operationalize this in the coming days? With the establishment of National Security Council. We do understand the political masters are not so much interested in setting up this council, but we also have to make them understand there has to be a constant pressure. And then only probably we can highlight the weaknesses or gaps in our credible deterrence that will be formulated in future. And then fill in the gaps with the intelligent inputs given by the council on the basis of the studies done by the different think tanks or by the different military institutions. So for me, what I feel is that the way the military narrative should have been taken to the public, that has not been done by us. And in the coming days, I'm sure after the elections, whichever party comes to power, that will be our first and foremost responsibility. And I'm sure that if it happens, then one day Bangladesh's security perspective from point of view of strategic issues will be taken care of by the nation very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, we have a special Nabo. So there are two of you, General Mustafiz and Colonel Shah. The both of you can share after that. Okay? Please be brief. So
Sir, thank you very much, sir. First of all, I would like to thank our chairman, the panel, and distinguished guests, our military and civil guests. Sir, thank you very much for coming over here and making it up. Subject is what is the ramification for Bangladesh? Now, I'll make it very short. That is, first of all, we might have some economic problem for this Iran-Israel war. Obvious reasons we have explained, because of this closing of Strait of Hormuz, oil flow. Then we have many expatriate, the remittance flow. For this reason, there might be some effect. And we have some people in Iran also. So we must look into that. Then diplomatic and geopolitical, there are ramifications on that also. Who supported whom? Here I would like to say one thing. We have practiced a foreign policy for the last 54 years. We need to look back what we got from that foreign policy. Do we have any friend? Till today, we had some tension with some of the countries, like with Myanmar in 91, 2008. That time we had conflict with our territorial water and all this thing. That particular time, there is a point, we are a little stronger than Myanmar, and when we say they go away from our area, they went back. Here comes our defense development and what we have. Now, if Myanmar comes in our area today, if we say go back, shall they go back or they will retaliate with full force? We must think about this thing. So we must have a friend in the world who will support us in time of need. Finally, national policy. Here, General Amsabin has already mentioned, I agree with him, we must have unity inside the country who will definitely emanate force for our country. Like as we have seen in Iran, the whole country, irrespective of very minor fraction, they were united, they supported. Even we have seen a TV presenter, lady TV presenter, she was reading news during air war. This is, must see, this is not only a picture, you see how much unity and how much love for their country we have. Here in our country, we must have the national policy and national unity and love for the nation. We have a saying here, this is all over the political arena, you must have support of our neighbor to go into the political power. This notion has to be crushed. Why should we have support of our neighbors for going to the power? We should have support of our people. This concept should be brought inside our country. Finally, I would like to say one more thing. When Iraq invaded Kuwait, if US would have said, okay, this is the original map of the Middle East, Kuwait is a part of Iraq. Now the main map has been rectified. Would there have been any war? I think there will be no war at that time if United States have said. If same thing happens, which India is advocating, they're raising map that in Bangladesh is part of India. If one night they will overrun us and declare it is the original part of India, it is strictly we are original part of India, and United States and some of our countries supports. What will be our condition? Please think about this thing. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Thank you. Give it to them. Please be precise. Okay, be precise, and please do not repeat what has already been spoken. If someone has said something, so I'll give it to you. Yes, Ashraf.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you, Chair, and my salam to all participants. Salam alaikum. It was a wonderful discussion, but what I see is as there was 3 presentations today, wonderfully presented by Brigadier Shafal, Yacomotor Shafiq, and Professor Rashid. But the panorama has become too big, and we cannot touch upon everything. To me, it appears that, as a matter of fact, we are talking about the tips of the iceberg. The problem is somewhere else. The world has been divided into 2. One is Islam, and the rest is anti-Islam. You might see, actually হয় কি খুব শর্টকাট বললে অনেক কিছুই ভুল বোঝাবুঝি হয়ে যায়। বিষয়টা হচ্ছে when the West failed in the crusade, they then decided that we will put this thing under the carpet and rest ওয়ার্ল্ডটাকে কিভাবে কন্ট্রোল করতে হবে, they will do it. So they first ওসমানিয়া খেলাফতকে ডিস্ট্রয় করে দিল, মুসলমানদের যে ইউনিটিটা। আর তারা করলো কি, তারা ন্যাটো ফর্ম করলো, তারা ইউরোপিয়ান ইউনিয়ন ফর্ম করলো। ওরা ফাইটিং ইউনিটস ছিল, তারা হলো ইউনাইটেড, আর আমাদের মধ্যে ডিসইউনিটি তৈরি করে এবং উসমানিয়া খেলাফতকে এমন ছোট ছোট রাষ্ট্রে বিভক্ত করলো, জর্ডান, সিরিয়া, এটা ওটা ওটা। তার মানে ইউনিটি যেটা ছিল, আমাদের স্ট্রেংথ যেটা ছিল, সেটাকে ভাগ করে দিল। এবং আরেকটা হলো যে মুসলিম উম্মাকে ভাগ করে দিয়ে প্রথমত হলো শিয়া সুন্নি, তারপর এর ভিতরে নানা রকম ফেরকা করে। তো এই জন্য আমার কাছে মনে হয় টুডে আজকে যেটা এগুলো হচ্ছে ফল আউট। দ্য রুট ইজ দ্য উই গট টু আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড আওয়ার অরিজিনাল আইডেন্টিটি। তো এখন এটার রেমিফিকেশনগুলো বাংলাদেশের জন্য কি? তো ফার্স্ট হচ্ছে হু ইজ দ্য এনিমি, ইউ হ্যাভ টু আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড। এখন ওই নিয়ে আলাপ করতে গেলে অনেক লম্বা হয়ে যাবে। অ্যান্ড দেন হাউ ডু উই নিউট্রালাইজ দ্য এনিমি। এখন আজকাল বলছে ওরা যে ডেস্ট্রয়। বেসিক্যালি আই এম এ গানার অফিসার। ইন এনি ওয়ার ইউ ডু নট প্ল্যান টু ডিস্ট্রয় দ্য এনিমি, ইউ প্ল্যান টু নিউট্রালাইজ দ্য এনিমি। But a destruction, a nihilist idea, these are done by the actually ধর্মীয় উগ্রবাদীরা। তার মধ্যে একটা হলো জায়নিস্টস, আর একটা হলো ইভেঞ্জেলিক্যাল খ্রিস্টিয়ানস, অ্যান্ড তাদের সাথে যুক্ত হয়েছে হিন্দুত্ববাদীরা। দে অল গট ইউনাইটেড, অ্যান্ড ওদের এইম একটাই, টু অ্যানিহিলেট দ্য মুসলিমস। সো ওই জন্য আপনি যদি বলেন যে হোয়াট ইজ দেয়ার টার্গেট, নো ইট ইজ দেয়ার নট দেয়ার। ওদের টার্গেট প্রথমে ইরাককে ধ্বংস করবে, তারপরে সিরিয়াকে ধ্বংস করবে, তারপর লিবিয়াকে ধ্বংস করবে, তারপর ইরানকে ধরবে, অ্যান্ড দেন অলরেডি ডিক্লেয়ার ইরানের পরে পাকিস্তানকে ধরবে, পাকিস্তানের পরে টার্কিকে ধরবে। সো ওই জন্য উই গট টু, আমাদেরকে কিন্তু এই সংখ্যা থেকে বেরিয়ে আসতে হবে। 2টা গ্রুপ, একটা হলো ইফ ইউ আর ইন ফেভার অফ মুসলিমস, আর একটা হলো ইউ আর এগেনস্ট মুসলিমস। এখানে একটা কথা আছে, মুসলমান হতেই হবে নাম, এরকম কোনো কথা নেই। কারণ সাউথ আফ্রিকাকে কয়েকদিন আগে যে অ্যাকশনটা দেখালো, সাউথ আফ্রিকা ইজ ইন ফেভার অফ মুসলিমস, অ্যান্ড আরব কান্ট্রিজ যাদেরকে নিয়ে দুঃখ করা হচ্ছে যে ওরা কীভাবে মুসলমান হয়, মুসলমান নাম হলেই তো দে আর নট উইথ দ্য মুসলিমস। সো এই জিনিসটা আমাদের বুঝতে হবে। এখন বাংলাদেশের জায়গায় আসি, কি মানে আমাদের কাছে মনে হয় হাউ ডু উই প্রসিড ফর দিস। এক নম্বর হচ্ছে এডুকেশন। উই গট টু এডুকেট আওয়ার পিপল। এডুকেশন এক নম্বর হচ্ছে ব্যাকবোন হিসাবে শক্তিশালী করার জন্য, এম্পাওয়ার করার জন্য জনগণকে। 2 নম্বর আইডেন্টিটিটাকে তুলে ধরার জন্য। এখানে কোনো ওই যে কি বলে মধ্যবর্তার কোনো উপায় নেই। ইউ গট টু আইদার সে দ্যাট ইউ আর এ মুসলিম, কারণ বাংলাদেশ ইজ নোন এজ এ মুসলিম কান্ট্রি। আপনি জানেন অন্যরা কীভাবে আমাদের সম্পর্কে কমেন্ট করছে। সো হোয়াট এভার উই শো, basically they will identify you as a Muslim and you got to stand up as a Muslim. That identity crisis should not be there. আমি এই নিয়ে আর কথা বলতে যাচ্ছি না। তারপরে ইকোনমিক ব্যাকবোনকে আমাদেরকে শক্তিশালী করতে হবে, সো দ্যাট উই ক্যান স্ট্যান্ড আপ। দেন ইজ এই যে কি বলে স্ট্র্যাটেজিক মুভগুলো, উইকার কান্ট্রি শুড হ্যাভ স্ট্রঙ্গার ইন্টারন্যাশনাল রিলেশনস। So we, as a small country, আমাদের স্ট্র্যাটেজিক ডেপথ কম, আমাদের ইকোনমি উইকার, আমাদের লোকবল আছে অলরাইট, দেন উই শুড হ্যাভ গুড রিলেশনশিপ উইথ দ্য কান্ট্রিজ, যারা মানে ভালো, যেটা আমাদেরকে আমাদের এই হেজেমনিক রিলেশনশিপ বা নেইবার্সদের থেকে আমাদেরকে বাঁচাবে। আমাদের নিয়ারেস্ট মুসলিম কান্ট্রি উইথ বাংলাদেশ ইজ পাকিস্তান। If today I say that we must have a stronger relationship with Pakistan, don't bring in 71, because this is 50 years, 55 years back. কি হয়েছে এখন? We do not have any common border with Pakistan. Then is Turkey, then is Iran, then is Malaysia. We must have wonderful and close bonds with them, যেটা আমাদের উপর যারা হেজিমনিস্টিক অ্যাটিটিউডে চলতে চায়, দাদাগিরি করতে চায়, তারা দ্বিতীয়বার চিন্তা করবে যে ইয়েস শুড উই রিয়েলি। দেন ইজ ওই যে ডেটারেন্সের কথা যেটা বলা হয়েছে, আমার মনে হয় এটা ডেটারেন্সের মধ্যে আসে। দেন ইজ এই যে স্যার বলতেছিলেন যে আমাদের কি কোনো উই ডু নট হ্যাভ এনি ফ্রেন্ডস। উই মাস্ট হ্যাভ ফ্রেন্ডস, উই মাস্ট হ্যাভ ইন্টারন্যাশনাল ফ্রেন্ডস, অ্যান্ড among like friendship with China, friendship with USA, I mean whatever, যেটা আমাদের জন্য কমফোর্টেবল হয়। দেন ইজ এই যে স্পাই অ্যান্ড এজেন্টদের কথা বলেছে ইসাবেলা পেরেস, ওই এক মহিলা, সে কিভাবে করেছে। যে সো এই ইন্টেলিজেন্সের কথাটা এসছে, উই গট টু গিভ ইট দিস। ওকে স্যার, আই এম ফিনিশিং উইথ সেইং দ্যাট ফাইনাল কথা হচ্ছে দ্য কান্ট্রি শুড বি ইউনাইটেড। ইটস নট কান্ট্রি অনলি, দ্য হোল মুসলিম উম্মাহ শুড বি ইউনাইটেড। সো ইউনিটির উপর আমাদের গুরুত্ব দিতে হবে। সো উইথ দিস আই ফিনিশ মাই কমেন্টস। থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ।
Thank you. Please. Speaker, microphone pass kare.
Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for giving me the floor. I'll mostly, briefly, focus on the ramification part of it. I don't believe Bangladesh is a global player, so it's pointless talking much about what is happening in the global stage. Rather, we should focus more on what we are going to do at this backdrop. So what I understand is that the Middle East conflict recently has laid open a very hard reality, and that is the new liberal world order has become totally dysfunctional. The new liberalism or the liberal institutionalism is not relevant anymore, because the new liberal world order was premised on the fact that the nation states would act like rational actors. But what we have seen over the last few days, that the parties to the conflict, they did not really act rationally. And the international institutions like the United Nations or the International Criminal Court was largely ineffective, powerless against the powerful nations. So given this reality, we don't have any supreme authority to regulate the behavior of the insane power mongers in the world stage. So what happens? The countries like ours has become isolated, solitary, with no friends at all. That brings me to the very point that whether we should seek for new alliances or we should remain non-aligned. To me, non-aligned means non-existent. If we feel complacent by remaining non-aligned, that we don't have any enemies, we tend to forget that that also makes us friendless. Being non-aligned means we don't have any friends at all. So I echo with the very opening speech of the chairman that this is the time that we should carefully select proven friends, and we should forge robust alliances. And when we talk about a solitary and apparently weak country like Bangladesh, we are left with few options. Number one is, as I've said, that we should forge new alliances with strong friends, proven friends, and we should enhance our own military capabilities. And how do we do that? To enhance our military capability, of course, as some speakers have already said, that we need to have a very organized National Security Council. We need to have a military industrial complex. We need to have some researchers. For example, we have a military Institute for Science and Technology. It is supposed to be working on the military technological advancement. They are supposed to carry out research and develop new weapons compatible with the threats we are anticipating. But often we see that our defense policy, which is literally non-existent, if there is at all any defense policy, I mean, if not in pen and paper, we emphasize on acquiring new technologies. So in the process of so-called modernizing the armed forces, we look for spectacular, expensive military hardware which has got no relevance in our threat assessment system. I just give one example. If we talk about Israel and Iran war, which are just, I mean, not ended, suspended temporarily, we have seen that the most important factor in defending a country is the air defense. Israel is lacking depth, as Bangladesh is also lacking depth. But how they have compensated for it, they have layered air defense. And that defense starts right from the borders of Iraq, then Jordan, then Syria, then Jordan, and finally into Israel. But we don't have that luxury. We don't have friendly countries surrounding us who would give us added layers to fight against, I mean, to defend our sky. So what can we do? Probably one of the answers would have been the tactical nukes, as someone has said. But I don't know when we are going to acquire that capability. So probably we have to really evolve new ideas, new defense policies, new security policies compatible with our geographical reality, lack of depth, and having no friends around the border. So we have to be very candid in thinking in this line. Just getting rid of the idea of friendship with everyone in Palestine, I'm sorry, you cannot be that. I mean, you cannot have no friends and no enemies at all. The hard reality is that you have to take a side now. You have to look for friends around. And we have to develop our own technological capabilities, and for that we need to really think deep. We have to have a good set of researchers, experts on military technology. We'll have to have a robust defense policy, and we have to enhance our own skills. Military Institute of Science and Technology, which we are very much proud of, so it has become, I'm just finishing shortly. I mean, it's supposed to be developing military technologies and military hardware, but it has become similar to Kuwait, and etc. and all that. There is nothing to feel proud of. We don't feel proud by making our MISTs similar to Kuwait. We should have a military institution of science and technology which will deliver military technologies and new equipments, armaments, new ideas which can help defend our nation. So we have to really broaden our thinking. And as one of the speakers has already said, I mean, we have to think, sometimes we have to think militarily. I mean, peace, without deterrence, you cannot ensure peace. Even Netanyahu has said that day, that without strength, you cannot talk about peace. Everyone believes in the same line, the world is moving in that order. This is the hard reality, this is realism. So you have to think about it. Thank you very much for giving me time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So, Group Commander Zahid wants to say something.
Sir, Assalamu alaikum, sir. Sir, thank you very much for giving me floor, sir. This is Colonel Zakaria from 26 Long Course. So first of all, sir, thank you very much, FSDS, that you have arranged this type of topic, and it is very pertinent nowadays. Sir, the lesson from the Iran-Israel war, simply I understand that there are many lessons for us, for Bangladesh. First lesson is that if you are not interested in war, doesn't matter. War may come down on you or it may fall on you. This is the first lesson. Number second lesson is that if it is so, as a Muslim country, you may not get any Muslim country beside you. So my request to you, sir, after this recent this Middle East issue. So every Muslim country, I think they should do a lot of research. They should take adequate preparation to protect their sovereignty. And Bangladesh is, in that context, is very much, I think, we need to think how to protect ourselves in future, because we may not be interested in war, but war may come down to us. So in that case, sir, my request to you, sir, you do please, FSDS, my request, you do please arrange this type of seminar, more and more, or discussion, and this is the high time you may go to the political party, the big political party in our country, so they do something in their manifesto before election, so how they are going to think on the security aspects of Bangladesh. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. So we have two more speakers. One is Gupta Zahid and then Mr. Ashfaq. Let him finish.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm Dr. Zahid, retired group captain from Bangladesh Air Force. My current affiliation is with the American International University, Bangladesh, and I'm also a research fellow at the Department of Politics and International Relations at the University of Reading. One Reading fellow is already in the panel. So good to see you, Professor Zaman. I'll start with a thank you to the chairman and also former chief and the esteemed colleagues. And I promise that I'll be focusing only on the topic and also something that probably hasn't been talked about here. As of now, the central puzzle of this particular debate seems to be an acceptance that weaker states are vulnerable. But the central question that emerges from that is, how does the weaker state in that case survive in international relations? Taking cue from what the chairman has said in his opening remarks and also the reference of like President Ziaur Rahman, I will bring a fact to this audience which is an example of how we have lived through that in 80s. On 13th January 1980, UN Security Council had a resolution, draft resolution tabled on the Iranian hostage crisis. Bangladesh at that time was a Security Council member. Bangladesh became Security Council member as a temporary, it's not a permanent, it's an elected 2 years based member, twice. That was one term during President Zia's time. Bangladesh abstained from voting. That surprised many countries. The resolution was not adopted because it called for sanction against Iran in response to that. Now that is a bold statement by a country like Bangladesh at that time, which was not aligned, at that time, which was still in a turmoil. Now when you take that example into consideration and reflect back what has happened now, and I was just reading the MOFA's statement of two incidents. The first one, after the Israeli attack, there was a Ministry of Foreign Affairs statement, formal statement, which condemned equivocally and expressed concern. If you read the second statement, which was issued by MOFA, after the American blatant attack, which is the single most incident of a superpower violating the sovereignty norm of international relations, the statement did not even condemn, did not even name the country. Now this gives you an ample thought to pursue, to understand. Forget about the military capability. This we are talking only about the speech act, diplomatic maneuvers, diplomatic coining of the word. What has made our foreign policymakers, executive to cave in from the examples that we have had practiced during 1980s to tone down our words and not to defend sovereignty norm. What to talk about the NPTs? This bomb was again also about the of destruction of the NPTs. No country will now be signing the NPTs. And if there is any example, because we have a lot of executives in the interim government who purport to present themselves as doing diplomatic talks, Gulf diplomacy and this diplomacy, and Facebook pages are full of their diplomatic engagement with different things. But this statement proves that they are not sufficiently armed in coining their words, in understanding what is at stake for small states like us now, for that attack by a powerful state, bombing directly, and a violation of international norms. So it is true that history hasn't been kind with a small and weaker state, but it is also true weaker states have survived, endured, only when led by people like those who have seen them. And right now, probably if you read what Singaporean Prime Minister is talking about and how he's making statements, that will also probably be an example for us. Let us fix that one, and we hope the future leadership of Bangladesh, who carries on the foreign policy, which is the first defense of the country, is assertive, diplomatic, and as the logo of this particular think tank puts Bangladesh first in their words, in their hearts, and in their consciousness. Because in the words of the Frantz Fanon, which I'm sure my fellow Reading graduate will also recall, it is in the heart of national consciousness that the international consciousness grows. Do not outsource our consciousness to any international sources. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to Mr. Ashfaq. Can I get the microphone now?
Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is Ashfaq Zaman, founder of Dhaka Forum. We recently working on a white paper, so I'll just try to share 3 points very briefly on the observations related to the topic. The first is many of us talked about policy over here. Policies are very important, but who's going to implement the policy? I think that is the bigger question. So one of the case study that we want to refer is the Department of Homeland Security in the United States. That's a classic example how they have not only stopped, they are called terrorism, but they have redefined the coordination of different agencies together. So what we propose is an integrated, unified counterintelligence cabinet agency who can not only coordinate but also control, like very similar to Department of Homeland Security, who comes in and out of the country. So immigration policies, border policies, security policies, cyber policies, can all these aspects can be coordinated if we have an implementing cabinet agency who is going to implement the policy. Because as we know that policies keeps on changing, policies will keep on changing because with different scenarios. Our second observation or recommendation is to have a very clear national deterrence strategy and a roadmap. For example, we know what is actually deterrence. Deterrence actually prevents the war, right? So we know, many of us have talked about having the right friends. What we need is basically defense pacts with allies, with defense allies. Not necessarily they has to be friends. It has to be mutual, where they gain something out of the pact and we gain something out of the pact as well. When Iran was attacked, Pakistan immediately mentioned that if Iran is being bombed in a nuclear way, they are also going to bomb. And that is deterrence. So we need someone to vouch for us that if Bangladesh is attacked, we will have a coordinated attack as well. And of course that has to be mutually exclusive in that case as well. When it comes to national deterrence strategy, media is also very important. We know that controlling the narrative of the war is as important as the war itself. And as we can see, in the recent times, Bangladesh also has gone through propaganda, misinformation, particularly by our neighboring country, trying to project that we are a radical, intolerant country. So we need a deterrence strategy to ensure that these things are not repeated. Lastly, very briefly, we do not have, unfortunately, any territorial integrity doctrine. Our red lines are not clearly mentioned, that what it means to violate our airspace, what it means to violate our maritime borders. We can have case studies of China, where they have done an active defense doctrine. Even India has a cold start doctrine. I think that doctrine needs to be very clear so that anyone who violates it, we know that what is the ramification for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now request our chairman to give his closing remarks. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much to all the participants and the talks we have heard. And there has been a lot of proposals. I would just like to sum up with few highlights. And you may agree or may not agree, but it's just for the thought process and for discussion and to enrich ourselves to have further discussions on a very topical subject about Bangladesh first. My first, I think I identify that we have a serious identity crisis. I hope did we ever realize that we are the only Muslim country which does not have a Muslim neighbor? Every Muslim country has a Muslim neighbor. We are in a sea of non-Muslims. So our challenges, our security threats are much more intense, much more significant than any other. But we tend to forget this totally. And in forgetting, we then try to forget our past, that whether we are secularist or we are Islamist. Our forefathers in 1947 had already decided we are Islamist, not secularist. Otherwise, the Indo-Pak sub-Peninsula should not have been broken. When Sarwadi proposed in 1936, before this two-nation theory, that we can have a secular Greater Bengal, including Assam, Meghalaya, East Bengal, West Bengal, Odisha. But India very quickly refused it. Persons like Gandhi, Patel, Nehru, because they clearly understood the numerical number is not in their favor. And that numerical number was that if this could be a state, a secular state, it's the Muslims who will ultimately rule, not the Hindus. And it's not again on the religious issue that threw away the concept of a secular Greater Bengal, because ultimately it is the Islamist that we ultimately in 47 or forefathers agreed. So to debate on a subject which our forefathers or grandfathers have already decided, I think we are using our time, futilely wasting our time. I think we should bury that. We have to be on the line that we are Islamist. Islamic, we may have a secular values in it, but our identity, our main focus is that we are Islamist, and our policy should dictate on that. Now there has been discussion about domestic policy versus foreign policy versus defense policy. We are the largest homogeneous people, yet we could not have a cohesive, homogeneous domestic policy. We are the most divisive nation. The homogeneity is supposed to be strength, we just could not cultivate. And it is because our internal conflicts within our society, within our mohallas, inter-district, pokke, pipokke, all these have so divided us that we find the national unity is a very difficult issue. And unless we resolve this, I think we have no future. As far as foreign policy is concerned, then there is also a struggle. What foreign policy do, what defense policy should do. I was very surprised, very recently. I'm telling you, I shouldn't share, but I tend to share. I had a discussion with the National Security Advisor. What had been happening in the recent past, I gave him a message that I would like to talk to you on certain issues. He gave me a call. Then I said that, what are you trying to pursue in the name of corridor? He said, why are you telling me? I said, yes, you are the one who coined it. I said, haven't your government said, the foreign advisor, that we got a proposal and we have given consent to that proposal. So there are few grey areas here. What are the grey areas which the government didn't say? Who gave the proposal? It's not, we don't know as yet. Second, what was in the proposal? We don't know as yet what the terms and conditions of the proposal. Third, as a Bangladeshi, first I would like to know what take we have, what we have for us. We don't know any of this. Then he straightway told me, which very surprised me, that why are you telling me this? You should tell this to the foreign advisor. I said, what are you talking? How can a national security advisor disown what a foreign advisor has said? Aren't you the other side of the same coin of the same government? So if this is the perception of our foreign policy, lack of cohesion between these two agencies, God help, where we are going to achieve our cohesion, our national unity, I really do not know. For a very, very long time, the foreign policy had been absolutely sailing on its own. Most focused on the political agenda of the previous fascist regime. They were more focused on having a corner for Bangabandhu as opposed to pursuing the diplomacy and proper foreign policy. We are a small nation, as Zik rightly said. It is more important that our foreign policy has to be very articulate, very calculated. Every word that is said is very important. Why couldn't in the same statement our foreign ministry could not stand up, as Zik had pointed out? It's very sad because our survivability depends on standing up for the right cause. The greater global order after Second World War has been totally thrown away by the Americans. Are we to support? Are we to keep quiet on it? Then what's our future? So I strongly feel that foreign policy and defense policy must go hand in gloves. They must stand parallel, converge to our ultimate, the national sovereignty issue. If we don't have this convergence of the foreign policy and diplomacy and the military defense policy, I think we are just moving a haywire, every department working on its own. As General Amsamin has said, we have no dedicated intelligence agency. People go on contract service, temporary service, and then go back. It's not only intelligence only. Tell me one sector we have developed people dedicated to that ministry. The other day I read an article, one of the joint secretaries joined an AI conference in Singapore. The guy, I doubt, as people said in the post, whether he can operate a laptop. So he is representing Bangladesh in an AI conference. So imagine, so where is our specialty? In no sector we have any specialized person. We have never had it. Everything is centered on bureaucracy and also civil service. They are the jack of all trades, master of all trades. We have pampered bureaucracy so much that nobody is interested to do any research work. Whereas we should have pampered the people who will do research work. People of Bangladesh has a lot of talent. They are all going away. Because the bureaucracy is the supreme in everything. How can this secretary, who has studied probably in just economics or say for engineering, is the secretary of the health? Who has no knowledge of the agriculture is the secretary of agriculture. Likewise, you name anything. We have never developed any specialized sector in it. I think this one issue we need to seriously look into. We talked about deterrence. Yes, unless we have a limited deterrence, we are just like a tokai in the international market. If you have a deterrence, people give you a chair, people will listen to you. If you have don't deterrence, our foreign diplomats, they just go sit, take a coffee and go back. Nobody will listen what you say. People will walk out the moment you go into the stage to say something. So we need a limited deterrence. And recently, the other day I also talked and so did their Vice Marshal. What is our actually, when we talk about the our protection from the aerial threat, where we stand? And we very often said, we are a poor country, we can't. This is absolutely pessimistic view. I'll just give you some statistics to compare the deterrence of Pakistan and deterrence of Bangladesh. You'll be surprised. Pakistan has a GDP of 411 billion. Bangladesh has 467 billion. We are more than Pakistan. Their per capita income is 1,824 as of 2025. Our is 2,820 per capita. We are much more than Pakistan. Who said we are economically weak? It's the mental mindset. We haven't been able to come out of it. Then defense budget, Pakistan has 9 billion and we have 3.4 billion. The Pakistan allocates 14.5% and we allocate something around 3%, 2.5 to 3%. So if we say that we cannot have a deterrence, we have an enemy all around, this mindset we must have to come out of it. We are suffering from a fear psychosis that we are encircled from all sides by India. Some even say 4 sides, not even 3 sides. To overemphasize their point, why should you have a defense, why should you have a deterrence? I've been talking to the Indian High Commissioner, I told him, that if the human body is India, Bangladesh is his stomach. Keep the stomach happy, otherwise you'll have to run to the toilet every now and then. So if you really think that way, we can be a problem for India if you have the minimum deterrence. We don't want to create that, but whether we want to create or not, that's a different issue. We must have that deterrence. And unless, and as I said, we have enough money. Bangladesh has now enough money to buy and arm ourselves and to create that deterrence. We don't have the political will, neither the people are. Our intelligence doesn't believe the biggest problem, and that's why the question of education comes. We are happy just with a piece of land and a flag. But nobody understands how to protect our sovereignty. Why should people understand? You check the curricula from kindergarten to the PhD. Nowhere the significance or the importance of the sovereignty is given. Nowhere the students know why there is a military in a country. But the narrative is just opposite. Why should we have a defense? I think we need to learn a lot from this, and unless we really come out of it, we have a very sorry state of the future. Strategic partnership. Friendship to all, malice to none. I very dirtily say, fornicate with all, married to none. We have no husbands. We fornicate with everybody and nobody. And so much so, excuse me for being vulgar, our neighbors even did not give us the simple respect that one has to pay to the prostitute. We don't even get the tips also. That's where we are. So unless we ourselves, I think, we are in a very sad. About the NSA, in my capacity, I have conveyed this message to the BNP political leadership, that you need to have a proper NSA, National Security Agency. It's not just a one-man, it's a complete secretariat, which will help the political leadership to understand. Because today, even buying onion from which country has a geopolitical implications. And that should be a complete secretariat giving full support to the political leadership to understand the full gamut of the sovereignty and national security. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you, sir. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Before we conclude, I'll just show you, during this time, I have written down a few lessons. Very briefly, to summarize, we need to have counterintelligence. That's the first thing we need to have. Second, we have to be self-dependent. Then we have to have a very strong leadership. And Iran has shown what strong leadership is. Then, as you all pointed out, we need a strong defense. And last but not the least, it all depends on our national unity. If you are united, we have again seen Iran is the example. Look at the unity. Look at the discipline, look at the leadership. They are surviving, they are withstanding probably the sole superpower, you can say. Although others are coming up, but they dare to stand up and face them. So that should be an example for us. So once again, thank you very much. Thank you for taking trouble and bearing with us. Sir.
Iran had 3,000 years of civilization.
Sir. Thank you.
We are a small state. Exactly a small state. Eighth largest country in the world. Right.